You're listening to an AINC original podcast. We believe you don't have to do life without a compass. Let us be your guide on this amazing journey. Welcome to Navigating Life with Vision Loss.
Hello and welcome to Navigating Life with Vision Loss. I'm your host, Kim Wardlow. We're excited to have you all with us today listening because this is a special episode of NLVL, and we're excited to have a wide range of guests today. Today we have three different guests from Bold Blind Beauty: Stephanie, Nasreen, and Dana. Bold Blind Beauty sells a message of empowerment, acceptance, and hope, and their mission is to improve humanity by changing the way we perceive one another. The message of accessibility, inclusion, and representation is something they really take to heart and make it clear up front that this is the main crux of who Bold Blind Beauty represents. And they're not just all about beauty. But before we get into that, ladies, tell me a little bit about yourselves. Right before we hit record, we were just talking a little bit about fall and how we love this season. Maybe if you want to mention something, your favorite things about fall. I know on your lifestyle podcast, you have 9 self-care items for fall. So do you have some favorite things about fall?
This is Steph. I'm actually the founder of Bold Blind Beauty and an alpaca fanatic. I love alpacas. My favorite part about fall is the vibrant colors, cozy warm sweaters, and hot cider.
Hi, I'm Nasreen, and I am the Chief Communications Officer here at Bold Blind Beauty. Incidentally, I'm also Canadian. And yeah, and you have to love fall as a Canadian. I love all the charms of fall, from all things pumpkin spice to the leaves changing color to a delicious warm apple pie.
So fall represents to me transition and the colors of the changing of the leaves.
Well, I am right with you, ladies. I love fall, and I'm a knitter, so I also adore alpacas because I love knitting with that particular fiber. It's so soft and lovely. Dana, you were brought on as a beauty expert. Can you tell us a little bit more about your background and how you came to join Bold Blind Beauty?
So my background, after I graduated college, I decided to pursue my passion. I was always into beauty. And I was like, once I graduated from college, I said, I'm going to go after it. So that was over 20 years ago. And I've done various things from being behind the chair, instructor, working with small brands and product development. And I started writing. And I was a makeup artist when I first started out. So when I was doing the makeup for a little bit, for about a year, I wanted to go back to school to become an esthetician. And how I got introduced to Bold Blind Beauty is Steph and I have a mutual connection in the community. And we were introduced. Steph and I were on a call for like 2 hours, I think. And I thought she was going to interview me, or I didn't know where it was going to go. We just really connected. And she said, "How would you like to be my beauty editor?" And I said, "Sure." And I've been having a ball ever since. And I've learned a great deal with working with these ladies and the stories that come out of Bold Blind Beauty and the connections. It's just been really empowering for all of us involved.
There may be someone out there listening that is interested in the type of work that you do. What does being a beauty editor entail?
Well, basically, I'm a licensed esthetician. So what it entails for me is even though my expertise is skin and anything involving with skin, but as I say to the team, I think I've worked with everybody in the beauty and wellness spectrum except directly with barbers. So because I started as a writer when I was doing the makeup, when I was doing a local makeup artist. And one of the things that I appreciated about my writing was nobody knew that I was a person who was on the blindness spectrum. So my work got picked because of my work. And it empowered me to do just to keep writing and educating. So I always say if somebody is interested in the world of beauty, get educated. Education is very key. Get a mentor. That's very key. I think those two factors, it can be done to pursue a field within beauty. And it's not just a behind the chair thing. It's many avenues. And I think that's one of the things that appealed to me about beauty is because I could chart my own course. I can go in any direction that I wanted to. It didn't lock me in and put me in a box because the beauty field is so wide open. So,
yes, I think that's helpful for someone who might be interested in that field. Maybe somebody hadn't even thought about that. They've just thought of beauty as being something very visual in terms of makeup and clothes and that aspect of beauty. But as you mentioned, that's really not true, that individuals on the blindness spectrum can be equally as interested in beauty as anyone else. Well, now that you shared a little bit about yourselves, Stephanie, can you tell us more about the mission and the purpose of Blind Beauty and how you started it?
Sure. Thank you so much for having us on today, Kim. The mission of Bold Blind Beauty is to enhance humanity by reshaping our perceptions of one another. It's a comprehensive mission that calls on each of us to strive for improved relationships and interactions with our fellow humans. Over the years, as Bold Blind Beauty has undergone an evolution, leading to a clearer message and well-defined purpose, demystifying blindness through the power of storytelling. It originated from my personal journey with sight loss and my aspiration to foster a positive shift in how sighted individuals perceive the blind community.
So I think that is so important, and how folks are perceived. And I know often we're battling stereotypes and those types of things. So this is definitely important work. Nasreen, you've had your hand in just about everything. Can you share with us more about what Bold Blind Beauty does that's not beauty related? You know, there's a lot that you have a podcast, blogs, and other things there on your site apart from the beauty aspect.
Sure thing. At the heart of everything that we do here at Bold Blind Beauty, advocacy and awareness, increasing awareness about blindness and the capabilities of people with blindness. It did begin with beauty initially because the general public believes that blind people are not interested in beauty at all. But in fact, we all know that's not true. AIR, which is access, inclusion, and representation, are the core elements that we use in demystifying blindness. A few of the programs that we do have here at Bold Blind Beauty are our virtual work experience program. And with this program, we work with, it's an internship program. We work with inner city kids, mainly right now from New York. We mentor them, guide them, and through working with us, they learn business human skills. And also, another program that we have here that is not beauty related is is our Insight Through Inclusion program. And these are women who are professional, passionate, and accomplished on the blindness spectrum. They come in to share their amazing personal stories to empower and enlighten and uplift individuals and organizations out there. So we have these two great programs that reach two different spectrums at Bold Blind Beauty that are continuous and ongoing with us. So, yes.
And then I believe it's within your blogs, you have different categories. I'm thinking there's a category that's kind of focused on white canes, and some various categories within your blogs.
So Beyond Sight Magazine is an online community, which we have a few different features there, which is Men in Motion, Women on the Move, A Monthly Beauty, and Cane Enabled. The Men in Motion and Women on the Move segments are basically men and women in the blindness spectrum sharing their sight loss journeys and stories to inspire and uplift the community. And our Monthly Beauty is basically a Cosmo or Vogue cover. It's a cover shoot, and that's something that Steph, the founder here, came up with years ago when she realized that this particular type of cover, that magazines out there don't really feature women who are blind. And so she created this particular type of cover where the Monthly Beauty is showcased in all her glory. And it's exactly that's what it is. It's a cover page for women who are blind, sharing a quote or two, and sharing their wonderful pictures. So that's Monthly Beauty. And Cane Enabled feature is basically geared around anything that has to do with technology or information in the blindness community to help others as far as resources go, as far as anything to do with OM or TBI, or parents with children with disabilities sharing their thoughts, or other organizations out there just giving their resources and sharing their products or goods framed around blindness to help the community further. So those are the segments that are found in Beyond Sight Magazine. And also we have a few contributors that do write for us on different topics, whether it's professional coaching, whether it's mental health or dietary needs, all geared towards people in the blindness community. And one other thing I must add, Kim, is that in Beyond Sight community, a lot of our subscribers to the blogs are basically, as we call them, allies. So people who are not necessarily in the blindness spectrum, but are curious about the blindness world, or may have friends or family members who are blind and want to maybe seek information or references from what we provide and the information that we disseminate.
Mm-hmm. So it really is a community that you're building. It's not just sharing out the information, but really the interaction with the people you're serving and them contributing to the community.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, you just mentioned that you do have individuals that are sighted, and in your pre-show interview also that there's interest from the sighted community in seeking more enlightenment, more information about blind individuals. What do you attribute this growing interest to?
That's a great question. Initially I didn't understand that, it seemed like the community was made up of more sighted individuals than blind individuals. But I chalk it up to curiosity. And the reason being, I think when we as sighted people contemplate blindness, we envision it as akin to shutting our eyes and fumbling through an unfamiliar environment. However, for those of us who are on the blindness spectrum, we've been taught how to master the skills necessary to lead independent lives and navigate the world effectively. So, I think with blindness being one of the most misunderstood disabilities, there's a huge interest in just learning about how we do what we do. And again, it goes back to, as a sighted individual, what that lived experience is like versus somebody who is blind. We only know what we know. So if you've never experienced sight loss, you wouldn't know what that experience is like except through what you would think, and that is closing your eyes and trying to do things where, as I said, that's not really how it works, because whether you're born blind or you lose sight later in life, we are trained on how to do the things that we do. So, and in this conversation, it sounds like it's easier than what it really is. There is a lot of time and effort put into it, but if you have the wherewithal and the persistence, you can certainly do it. And I would also say that, when I began losing my sight, one of the things that helped me to embrace my sight loss was immersing myself within the blind community, because once I did that, I was able to see that there are people who are blind or on the blindness spectrum who are doing really wonderful things, professionals who, that's what I was before I lost my sight. And I was thinking that after I lost it, that I wouldn't be able to continue to work and do those things that I love to do. And I found that just wasn't true. I just had to learn how to do those things differently. So,
And I think people don't always realize or understand that there is a spectrum. I think, well, you're sighted or you're blind, or sometimes I know we encounter in providing our services, individuals who say, well, I don't really need services for someone who's blind. But if you ask them, they're not able to read any longer. So some of that denial and because of some of the stereotypes that do still exist, not being willing to acknowledge that, oh, I've lost some vision. I maybe would benefit from learning some new skills or using some adaptive technology. So I think that's important, and that's part of what you all are doing as well.
Yes, and that's such an excellent point. The spectrum of blindness is very vast. It's far more than, as you said, seeing versus not seeing. It's just such a wide range. So I hope that through platforms like Bold Blind Beauty and others out there, that people are beginning to understand that even the word blind, it's not a bad word.
Right.
And it's not a word that we need to think of as less than or can't do. We just need to change the way we look at it.
Yeah, I think that's so important. And maybe there's folks listening today that have struggled with that. But I think being able to accept if you're losing vision, that's happening, and being able to seek out resources like yours is really important. One other thing that was mentioned, Nasreen, when she was talking about the different aspects on your blog and the different information that you provide, some of that's directed to men. I know many believe the messages of empowerment are primarily aimed at women, but you've achieved a high level of success among men. Why do you think that is? I mean, certainly you have a segment of your website devoted to men as well.
The thing that, because we were able to touch, men were able to see the humanistic side of empowerment, which is universal. And if you can capture the thing that we all have in common, we are all human. And I think that's what people can relate to, and it's universal. The message is universal.
That is definitely true. And I think so often when we think about beauty, it's maybe limited just to the physical beauty and focused so much on women, but I think those messages of empowerment are definitely, sometimes women are certainly in need of those, but they apply to men just as much.
They definitely do. And, initially when I created Bold Blind Beauty, the old tagline used to be "Real beauty transcends barriers." And I felt that that was a powerful statement that spoke to that. Mm-hmm. The real beauty. When I think of barriers, we know barriers very well, being people on the blindness spectrum. There's all kinds of barriers. When you think about the things like Dana said that separate us, instead of thinking about what separates us, let's think about the things that we have in common. And the real beauty really does transcend those barriers. So anything, race, religion, social status, education, disability, gender, all of those things that might separate us then become less important because we're focusing, as Dana said, on the humanistic side of things.
Mm-hmm. And I saw something on your website that said, and I forget who the quote was from, but that fall can show us the beauty of letting go. And I thought that was a really interesting quote.
Yes, I remember looking for a quote and found that, and it just spoke to me. I can't remember who said it. I feel so awful.
I know. I'd have to look back on the website. They're given credit. I just don't remember the name. But I think that's a good thing. There can be beauty in letting go of things in our lives as well. Well, you all have a lot going on at Bold Blind Beauty. And as we've talked about, far more than just beauty, empowerment, being an advocate. Steph, what's coming up next for Bold Blind Beauty?
Well, Kim, we are going to continue to demystify blindness through sharing the experiences of individuals on the blindness spectrum, all while promoting our message on the significance of AIR, access, inclusion, and representation. Our goal is to form partnerships with like-minded organizations that are equally committed to fostering equity and inclusion. So right now, that's, what's coming down the pike.
Okay. If someone wants to get a hold of you, what is the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, they can email us at info@boldblindbeauty.com. They can also join our Bold Blind Beauty Facebook group. You can send us a message on Instagram at Bold Blind Beauty, or you can just reach out to Steph or myself directly through LinkedIn and get in touch with us that way. Love to hear from you all.
That's great. Well, so from any or all of you, do you have any final thoughts for our listeners or something you'd really like our listeners to take away from this interview today?
Yeah, I have something I'd like to share. It's really crucial to create spaces where people can be themselves without trying to fix them. Being blind or fill in the blank, it doesn't equate to being damaged. It just simply means being unique. Mm-hmm. And I think, when we can come to a place where we can embrace people as they are, everybody wins.
For me, I would just have to say that, it's important not to be judgmental and try to understand when you do see somebody with a disability, whatever that may be, including blindness, to better to ask or to inquire, ask questions. Everyone's curious rather than to be judgmental or dismissive or put them in that, I think you mentioned earlier, Kim, stereotypical box of some sort. I think that's important because at the end of the day, like everybody's a person. They have feelings, they have needs, wants, and desires, and not all of us have asked for disability. We weren't. Some of us were born with a disability. Some of us weren't. But if given the chance to have, the disability sort of, snap taken away or, replaced to be quote unquote normal, and then I'm sure a lot of people would want that. But it's not that can happen. So here we are, as a community dealing with, our journey through the blindness spectrum. And, important thing here is for others around who are not aware or have no, inkling about this. It's okay. Be curious, come ask questions. We'll tell you. Just don't be ignorant. Don't be judgmental or dismissive that what can they do? They can't do anything because they can't see, and that's not the truth. That's not real. And so that's what I really emphasize is that don't be judgmental. Ask and educate yourself so you know better.
That's great advice for all of us. Dana, you get the last word.
Okay, so I would end with this. Remember, regardless of what your disability may be, you are not it. You are still a person. It's just what you deal with, but it's not who you are.
Well, thank you all for joining me today and expanding our idea of beauty and what beauty is. And I wish you much success as we're nearing the end of this year and starting the next. It sounds like you have lots of things in the works as we come into the new year here in a couple of months. So thanks so much. Well, thank all of you for listening. We appreciate that. If you have comments, please send those to us, or if you're listening, whatever platform you're listening on, please feel free to make comments there or subscribe. That's always helpful to us. I just want to remind you of a couple of things. As we've announced previously, Audio Information Network's name is going to be changing to AfterSight at the beginning of next year, January of 2024, which means our podcast, AfterSight, hosted by Penn Street, is going to be changing its name also, just to avoid confusion in search engines and things like that. So if you have any suggestions for the new name for the AfterSight, it's currently the AfterSight podcast, please send those to us. You can send those to info@aincolorado.org. And Colorado Gives Day, you're able now to make your donations or schedule your donations for Colorado Gives Day early, so you don't have to think about what day is the second Tuesday of December, or remember on that Tuesday to make your donation. So you can go to the coloradogives.org website and schedule your donations now, which we also greatly appreciate. Again, thank you so much for listening, and we hope our program helps you navigate your life with vision loss.